Hello friends, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and it is day 2 of Delve League. Started about 22 hours ago, and as you can see, I played for 15 hours and 8 minutes. I am kind of endgame. Now granted, not all of that time was spent playing. A little bit of it was spent AFK, and a lot of it was spent figuring out the delve system, but I'm currently level 71. I'm on tier 2 or 3 maps currently, and my build is a poison blade vortex character. So I've been playing poison blade vortex, messing with the new Herald of Agony and Herald of Purity. I use Herald of Purity because it actually ends up adding to my poison. The base damage affects your poison, so it does 420 to 630. Now it goes down to 394 to 592, so that does scale that up. Also, it's kind of interesting, you end up getting between the two heralds 5 minions that fight with you, and they don't do an insignificant amount of damage. They help with bossing, they help with clearing up the junk that your damage over time doesn't directly do. Now we do an average damage of hit when we're when we're fully revved up of like, I guess we can check it out real quick. 2099. So, and you can multiply that by about 5.5 because it's 0.9 hits per second, or 0.19 hits per second once it's revved up. So we're doing a decent amount of damage. That's like what, I don't know. It's a good amount of damage though. It's like 11,000 or so DPS just with our blade vortex, and that's with the reduced damage with the deadly ailments, which gives us less damage on hits. However, the main thing we're scaling is our poison damage, which goes up to 2836.9 on the top end, 18.5 or so. 1,850 or so on the bottom end, and we can stack that because of the hits. We can stack that about 22 times in 4 seconds. We also have a decent amount of poison duration, so we can really stack those on. So once we get our full stacks up, we can get up to over 60,000 DPS already with poison, and I haven't even hit some of the bigger damage nodes. I'm just getting up to Force Shaper now, so we're going to be able to scale that up and hopefully see a lot of benefit from that. I'm probably never going to make it up to Corruption, although Corruption would really, really buff the damage of this build. This is my skill tree. I'm currently a Trickster. I haven't done the even the Merciless lab yet. I'm going to be getting Weave the Arcane next, followed by Ghost Dance. Finally, Weave the Arcane is going to make our clear a lot better, and basically is going to give us a little bit more damage mitigation, and then Ghost Dance is going to give us a lot more damage mitigation for when we get up into red maps. So we're going to try to clear that up. We got Patient Reaper, which is literally our only sustain, and the only problem I've had with this build so far is its sustain. Its boss clearing abilities all through leveling. I didn't stop to level at Aqueducts, I just ran right through. I think I ran Aqueducts twice. I was on level pretty much the entire time leveling through. I was never over leveled, even while doing the delves, and that's partially because of something I'm going to get into when I talk about the delves. I want to talk a little bit about the Delve League. But yeah, the sustain is just not so good on this character. So Patient Reaper is essential to get initially because I'm used to running Warlord's Mark on a Blade Vortex character. I usually do Elemental Conversion Blade Vortex with Warlord's Mark, which also gives me more survivability in the form of endurance charges. Unfortunately, those are not available. Prolonged Pain is really, really, really good with poison. Really good. Gives generic skill effect duration as well, which synergizes with Blade Vortex. We also get that from Entropy, so we end up getting 25% skill duration on our Blade Vortex, basically for scaling stuff we would already want to scale without having to go all the way down to these the duration nodes, which would be great. Don't get me wrong, I would love to be able to get those, but they're a big point commitment from Shadow if we want to get some of the other cool stuff like I am a big fan of getting all this life. I actually really like dirty techniques a lot, which is part of the reason we're down here. The other part of the reason is there's a decent chunk of life to be gotten around here. Probably not going to be able to get over here, but we do have that option, and we have some more life to pick up. We have a very low life total. I actually killed Act 10 Kitava with 2,800 life, which is the second lowest I've ever done it on, I think, and it is the lowest I've ever done it on a character without leveling gear, with self-found gear, and we'll get into that because I have some awful gear, truly awful. I don't even have maxed fire resist or lightning resist. I do have maxed cold resist, overmaxed, well overmaxed. I don't have that great evasion. We do have, however, acrobatics and phase acrobatics, which is nice. We do have a little bit of dodge, and that's pretty much the only thing we have for a defensive mechanic. We still have a lot to work on in this character, but considering it's day 2, I haven't really bothered. I'm just kind of getting to level, and then I'm just going to buy up my gear, get all of my gem links sorted out, that kind of thing at the moment. But where I plan on going next, so we got Golem's Blood, we got Dirty Techniques, we got Thick Skin, Herbalist, so we went down, got all of that life plus a little bit extra poison synergy. Fatal Toxins, very, very important, feels very weak without it. Revenge of the Hunted, I mostly got this so we can get close to the strength, because we're going to need strength. Currently, I'm getting a decent amount of strength from my belt, which I definitely need to improve. Actually, I need to improve all of it. We'll go over the gear in a second. Got Growth and Decay. And the way I leveled is I went straight through the physical. I went up and got Trickery, so we'd have the extra dex and intelligence for leveling Blade Vortex when we got it. I started with Explosive Trap for leveling, so leveled with Explosive Trap up until I got Blade Vortex at level 12. Went through Will of Blades, up through Fangs of the Viper. I didn't bother getting Entropy for quite a while. Went up through Nullification into Cold-Hearted Calculation. From there, I immediately went to Written in Blood just for the extra strength, because I knew I was going to get Herald of Purity. And then from that point, I moved over to Blood Drinker. I started scaling Poison. I went to Fatal Toxins, and then down. I just got Acrobatics. I didn't get Phase Acrobatics. From there, I went over and got Deep Wisdom, then Heart and Soul, then Blast Radius, then Arcane Well, and then Arcanist Dominion. I picked up the Physique for the strength, which I needed at that point. And then I started moving downwards. I got Herbalist. I actually ended up picking up Toxic Strikes, but I really don't like this. I'd rather have 80% chance to poison than get Toxic Strikes, to be honest. And I don't really want to pick this up for the poison on hit and bleed on hit. The bleed will add a very little amount of supplemental damage. We'll have the maybe it'll actually add a lot, because this is poison. This is poison, but more damage with ailment. So we do at least scale it with that. So I'm not sure if we should maybe at some point try getting poison and bleed chance nodes here to give us 100% poison and then 30% bleed chance, since we do have a little scaling for that. That might be an option. But we didn't go to Golem's Blood just yet. We actually moved over and got the Revenge of the Hunted and finished off Phase Acrobatics. And yeah, then we went for like Growth and Decay. We're starting to fill out our damage at this point. Then we get to Golem's Blood, and now we're heading up to Force Shaper. So that's kind of the way we leveled this. Get into the gear, and then I'll kind of show off the character. Really janky. This has 2 resists and the links that I wanted, as far as I wanted Flame Dash with faster casting. So we can definitely do better. There's no one really selling a lot of gear on PoE.trade yet. I did manage to buy this 5 link just now, actually. I just got this. So the DPS numbers I was leveling with were much lower. I leveled on a 4 link. I was at 4 link right up until this level, level 71. And DPS was fine. I ended up, the way I prioritized is I started with Blade Vortex with lesser poison. From then I added on, I believe it was faster casting, so that was my 3-link setup. Blade Vortex, lesser poison, faster casting. With lesser poison, that gives 40%, and then with your Herald of Agony, that gives an additional 20%, so that's 60% chance to poison right there. It's pretty consistent. After that point, I started leveling the poison support gem, but used the lesser poison for the bigger hit damage because they added chaos. And then I used Vile Toxins as the next one because this will also scale up your hit damage. It'll give more damage for each poison on the enemy up to a certain number. This is great for bossing because it'll scale up your damage with Blade Vortex as well, giving you, in my current case, 45% more damage on hits, which is actually a lot. That's a whole lot, and that's the same amount as the amount from poison that you get. But it's mostly for bossing. It's pretty useful in general though, since we usually are hitting a lot of times per second. So even if we just pass by something, it usually takes like half a second to 2/3 of a second. We still hit like 3 times, so we're still getting a lot of extra damage even from that. Then I switched over to poison, and Deadly Ailments was my latest addition. And the 61% more damage is it almost doubled my DPS. I mean, obviously, in fact, it might have more than doubled because 61% more. But yeah, it was a big increase. I got this dagger really early on with spell damage, increased damage with poison, and poison duration. It's about the only good piece I found most of the way through. I bought these boots blue in a vendor with the cold resist and movement speed and threw a regal on there in hopes of getting life. I actually haven't done any Haku missions yet, so I can't even craft life on it yet. So I'm hoping I find something better, but if not, I'll just do the next couple Haku missions I have. This also doesn't have life on it, and I might be able to craft it. And nope, I haven't done Torah missions or enough Torah missions to unlock everything yet, so that's unfortunate. This ring I got really early, and I've been using since I think I got it around level 20. It requires level 14. I'm still using it at level 71. Needs to be replaced, but it has cast speed, life, and 2 resists basically, so it was pretty good for leveling. The cast speed makes things a lot smoother for Blade Vortex, so I was getting as much cast speed on jewelry as I could. Speaking of, this is also a level 16 one. In fact, I think this is also level 14, but I crafted on cold resistance, which brought it up to level 16. Found it around the same time. It has life, resist, cast speed, and a very small amount of spell damage. Very small amount of everything. So we're looking to get similar items to these, but with just way more of everything. And I crafted the cold resist on here when I wasn't maxed on cold resist, and I kind of overcompensated. Now it'd be nice to be able to get some fire resist on there instead, but say lovey. I have this ring here, which has life, mana, and a decent amount of resist. This one's pretty good. It's only required level 28. So once again, I just don't have gear even remotely proportionate to my level. I leveled this whole thing easily using level 14 through 28 gear, and I'm not exaggerating. Everything, like I found this imp dagger right here. This is like, God, without level 32, and that might even just be the mana. I found this all really early. So I do have this shield, which is life, double resist, spell damage, energy shield. Just found it in a Vol side area corrupted like this, so it's not bad. I can't ever change the links. There's not a lot I can do. So, Flame Dash. I want to talk about Flame Dash because I've been using that. They buffed Flame Dash so that it has increased cooldown recovery as it levels. As you can see, it recovers much more quickly than it used to. And it also has a much longer range. Now, for leveling, this is great because it allows you to get over gaps that you were never able to get over with Flame Dash before. So, really, really useful in that regard. For instance, the broken bridges in at the end of Act 7, when you get down into the spider lair, there are those little like crumbled bridges, and you can mirage arrow across them, or a blink arrow or whatever. You might even, I don't think you can leap slam. I think there's you can lightning warp, but you could never flame dash across those before, and now you can flame dash across those. So that's awesome. Really big buff. That being said, maybe once it gets up to level 20, the cooldown reduction recovery will be enough to where you can use it just constantly. But as it currently stands, it's not going to get you through maps a lot quicker. And I think I would like to try phase run, especially since I already have some duration and I can just put some increased duration on there. So it can get like a blue-red socket. So that's kind of the plan. I'll probably test out phase run at some point, and I'll let you know how that goes. So other than that, I have, the only thing I have my minions socketed to is minion speed, because that's what I had links for. I would also probably do minion damage, which would give me very, very little mana. I don't have a lot of mana regen or a lot of mana sustain. I was sustaining fine at 4 links, where it was only 34 mana to cast Blade Vortex, but now it's 45 mana, so that's quite a bit more. And it's really making it difficult to sustain mana, which is okay. I just like kind of either let it recover, and I have a life flask, or a mana flask. I don't have the best rolled flasks yet. I do have Experimenters of Adrenaline, which is nice, and then I have an Experimenters of Grounding for the Stibnite flask that I'm using, which I use for single target. Gives me the blind, which really synergizes well with block, dodge, and evasion. They all synergize extremely well, making it so it's actually possible to just not ever be hit if you have high enough numbers of all of them. Because the whole you're eventually going to get hit if you're with the evasion thing is mitigated by the fact that once the hit is rolled, you roll for like evasion or dodge rather, and then like that's modified by the blind, and then you could still block it on top of that, although your block chances halved from having acrobatics, but still the 12.5 chance. So the goal is just to get all of these things to really high numbers. Phase would help with that as well, as it gives you 10% dodge and 10% spell dodge, I believe. I don't know if the actual phase run skill jump does that as well, but I know that the phasing flask does that, and you get that as a synergy from one of the ascendancies. So pretty interesting stuff here. But yeah, this is garbage loot. We're just gonna jump into, or garbage gear. I'm just gonna demonstrate it in a map. Graveyard's the only tier 1 I haven't done yet, so I'll go ahead and do that. Rogue Exiles and Void Elemental Ailments. That's not gonna affect us, so we're just gonna pop this in here and see how it does. Oh yeah, we've been using Despair as well instead of a Wither Totem, mostly because of links. I'd like to get a Wither Totem set up for bossing. It would be a lot more hands-off. It would give me the opportunity to run around type thing. But yeah, I'm not really familiar with damage over time builds just yet, so oh yeah, I forgot I was gonna run the run an Abyssal Depths. And after this I'll give you a couple of tips for the Abyssal Depths. But yeah, you can kind of just walk through things and they'll die. I haven't gauged exactly to what extent yet, but it seems pretty quick, and the minions will clean up pretty much everything that you don't clear directly. Keep pretty high amounts of virulence stacks as long as you keep moving and hitting things, generally speaking. Yeah, rares go down really quickly. We have just a very high number of DPS. Here's an exile. We can curse it and walk away and it'll die. I almost died as well because we're very squishy. I also should have used my Stibnite Flask, but yeah, outside of poor play, we're working pretty well. Okay, so now we have an Abyss, which will be a good test. So we can also just, yeah, that's very quickly taking things down. So what I'll do is I'll go to the hole, I'll drop my Stibnite Flask, stand in the blind cloud, get ready to heal any sudden hits, and drop my curse on things. And then we'll repeat that. We'll just walk through as these things come up. And we immediately drop our Stibnite Flask. I didn't drop it fast enough. Make sure we're using our instant flask. Hey, we got a Breachstone, nice. Or we got a Divination card, the Obscured, to get ourselves a Breachstone. Yeah, that was a better indication of what this is capable of. This is an inaccurate amount of experience per hour, because I just went back and did my skill points, so I was in lower level zones. So 66 million. Clearly I'm getting a lot more than that. Alright, this is gonna be difficult. So what I'm gonna do, since it's a triple boss, is I'm gonna rev up my blade vortex. I'm gonna pop in here, drop my stibnite. I almost forgot to drop my stibnite flask and it almost killed me. But yeah, we got through there. Yeah, so squishy. Being squishy and having a lack of sustain is basically the big weakness of this build. And, you know, it's something we can kind of work at. Talk to Barichi, get another free rogue exile in our map. So we're gonna have 3 exiles in this map, not too shabby. Get ourselves some jeweler's orbs. Some jorbs. So yeah, double Herald Poison Blade Vortex. Surprisingly good build. I don't even look to see what the Barichi mission was. It's probably don't kill the exile. Oh, it was kill the exile. Hey, we got another one right there. There you go. All the exiles. Alright, got ourselves a ring. One step closer to our lore weave. Our inevitable one lore weave that we get per league. Hopefully we have better luck on rolling this one. Yeah, a little slow. You know, it's not the fastest clearing build in the world, but it's fairly reliable, fairly decent DPS, and like I said, we're in garbage gear, so I'm playing a little bit more carefully than I would otherwise as well. I'm not just jumping in the middle of packs, I'm kind of fighting on the outskirts. Alright. And that's good enough. 16 monsters left, that's fine. Alright, so that was that. And now we'll go into our mine encampment and show that off. Show our progress into delves. So, I haven't checked since I started mapping how deep we are. But we have this at a base of 120%, so we've upgraded a decent amount. We have this as a base of 150%. We were at delve level 72 last I was in there. We have this up to 250 capacity. We haven't really done anything with the flares and everything. I did get one radius upgrade because it was relatively cheap. Oops. I'll go ahead and take a look at the subterranean chart. So this is kind of where we are. And what we did initially is we started going down right from level 4. We had done our initial delve. And see, the problem with that was I didn't realize that we could just start from a lower level as we out-leveled the content. So I was like doing delve content for hours in some cases where I was incredibly under-leveled. Like when I was doing the 16 that I finally ended off with here, I was already like something like level 32 or something, and I was always extremely under-leveled, and I was trying to delve as deep as possible, just going straight through, and I just couldn't manage it. And I found out the main reasoning for that is, well, if you're out leveling the delves, you're supposed to be able to just follow this straight line down that Nico digs for you. And when I started doing that, I started spending my azurite spending the sulfate, just getting azurite that was near those as I went down. So in this case, say I was level 39 or so, or level 41, whatever it is, I would grab this and maybe get over here to get this too, since there's all of this azurite over here, just so I could upgrade my things, and then I would go back to doing it, and I would just do the quickest, like most azurite heavy routes that I could go for. That was my strategy. In this case, there's not a lot that I can do, but this is kind of closed off for now, so I'll have to go over and around, or over and around this way, and I can kind of show you how the delve goes. So we'll start in this monster level 61, which is significantly below. I'm gonna quick ID some of this stuff and see if I got anything decent. Probably not, but you never know. 39 life. resist. This might sell in the beginning of the league, maybe. Probably not. And we got double damage to axe attacks and avoid bleeding, and a little humdrum. Okay. So we'll toss that over there for potential sales in the future. And we will head down into a delve to kind of show you how that works. So, where am I? There I am. We're going to go to get this sulfate right here, and then we're going to go down and get the tier 3 sulfate. Or azurite. I keep getting those mixed up. And what you do is you just kind of run ahead of the thing. You can get off to the sides and see if there's anything to get in the darkness. If you have a higher light radius, it's a lot easier to see. Otherwise, you kind of have to just run out there and see if a clickable shows up near you. Like, for some reason, the chests and the walls and everything won't show up until you're right next to them, more or less. And I'm sorry if the audio is a little loud. I didn't really think to turn the sound effects down for this. So, it looks like it's louder than I'm comfortable with, for sure, compared to the mic volume. But I don't really feel like reshooting this because I want to just go back to playing. So, here we go. But yeah, and then at the end you get all the loot that the cart picks up. You get whatever the special room has in it. Some of them have currency, some of them have items. Some of the ones I'm going for have azurite. I do like to try to go for the currency rooms as well, because they tend to be pretty good. But yeah, now we're gonna head over to this putrefied forest to go to the azurite tier 3 room. And the kind of pattern for this is that there, you can dip into the dark and there's forgotten loot in that case. But the pattern for this is mostly you go down a hallway, you kill a bunch of stuff on your way, and at the end there's a room that you can either click on something to start an event to fight a bunch of monsters, or it starts automatically. In the case of the azurite rooms, you always click on the pure living azurite, and there will be a bunch of monsters here, and we'll just, you know, make sure we're fighting them all off. Activating our flasks so that we're taking less damage, getting frozen. Even though we have max cold resist and this is only a level 72 area. So it might be good to have a freeze resist flask. The little orbs that come out actually have a lot of damage in the azurite areas. I've been taken by surprise. These things, the azure shells, whatever they are. They actually do a good amount of damage and can sometimes freeze you because they seem to be mostly cold. But yeah, and then you get a little boss, and we're gonna get a boatload of azurite here. Yeah, just got 300 azurite, some currency, so the rewards are good. As you can see, it's a little bit time consuming, but the rewards are pretty nice. I'm just gonna call that good, and I'll do the rest independently. But that is my character, and that's how it's been doing in the delves and maps. I will probably release an update video every day for the next couple of days, and then I'll do some guide videos and maybe a playthrough on a specific kind of character. But I hope you enjoyed. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye! Hello friends, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming. Thank you for watching the video. Behind Eyes Gaming is brought to you by viewers like you. Please don't forget to check out my Patreon in the link below. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon if you'd like to be notified of future videos, live streams, and more. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!